Hey guys, TKC here with a brand new segment to the channel. This segment is going to be called Duel Day Challenges. So here's how it works. Basically every month or so, all of our Duel Day competitors, or at least most of them, gather around and we come up with some sort of goal, theme, or restriction that we have to build our deck around, and then basically whoever comes out on top, whoever has the best standing with this awesome, crazy creation under these restrictions, wins the challenge, and then everybody buys the winner a pack and celebrates, and then we plan for the next challenge and stuff like that. So for the very first challenge, we went ahead and decided to name it the Bladefish Challenge. So basically this is how the challenge worked. Everybody had to use 3 copies of Bladefish. Unfortunately this rule was broken by one person, but that's okay. We're gonna let that slide for now. But basically, you had to use 3 Bladefish, and the only creature types you're allowed to use in your deck are Undertow Engines and Trench Hunters, which is, not many at all. There's probably about 20 to 25 or so. I don't really remember the exact number, but there really isn't much to work with. So basically, I'm going to go through my whole deck building process. I recorded the whole thing on video, and I'm going to go ahead and analyze, the steps I took to kind of create this weird deck. And then at the end, I'm going to go ahead and talk about my matches, my 3 rounds, how they went, who won the challenge, and show off all the deck lists. Alright, so let's go straight into my deck list. This is basically how I did this. I started off by going to TheKaijudoChannel.com, my website. I went to the database, and the first thing I did is the obvious thing, search for all Undertow Engines and all Trench Hunters, and boom. There we go, 20 to 25 results, something like that. I went ahead and sorted by level to get an idea of what I'm working with. Should I be going for a more control-oriented deck, a more tempo-y deck, a little bit more aggressive, something like that. So I had a general idea of what I wanted to do. So I decided to be more tempo-y. I had a bunch of level 4s to work with, and then, kind of just finish the game off with one of these big level 8s. And there you go, that was basically the general idea. So let's see how I went ahead and built this thing. So, of course, as part of the challenge, 3 Bladefish is mandatory, so that automatically fills in 3 of the slots right there. No brainer. Then, after that, I had to see the level 2s. What were my options in level 2? And there were only 2 cards, and that was Flame Vent Diver, which is probably going to be an absolute must because it's 3,000 power for only a level 2, which is actually very strong for a Trench Hunter. It's absolutely amazing, so I had to use 3 right away. And then the other one is a very old classic, all the way from the battle decks. This is Refi, a level 2 3,000 blocker with guard, so it's not as good as the light blockers sadly, but it's still a very efficient level 2 blocker, and that was an instant include into the deck as well. Then moving on to level 3s, like I said, Bladefish had to be in there, so it's perfect because it's basically an Aqua Seneschal with no ability, which is, very bad, but at the very least, it is a level 3 that can attack, and that's pretty much all that matters. Now, also in the Trench Hunters is a very interesting level 3, and that is Eropica. This is a card that's probably never ever going to see play, but it actually sees some use in this challenge because it's a level 3 blocker that can attack, which is really cool. It's a lot like Scaradorable of Gloomhollow, and that has like the same kind of stats in a way. It's a level 3 that can attack and block. Unfortunately, its blocking efficiency is not that great because it's only 1,000, so it's going to pretty much block and then get banished at the end, but at least it saves you from, losing the game potentially. So that's all I went for in level 3s. There are other options. I believe there's also Flurigil Manta that I thought about, but I decided to kind of go against it for now and just kind of look at my level 4 options because there are plenty in level 4. So the first thing I noticed right away is that Featherfin Stalker is a Trench Hunter, which is absolutely amazing. It's a level 4, 3,000 power creature that when it attacks, you draw a card just like Aqua Seneschal, which is perfect because, Bladefish, they're kind of getting rid of Aqua Seneschal. It's kind of annoying, so Featherfin kind of fulfills that Seneschal role and the tempo role, basically. And on top of that, it's a Slayer as well, so it's very annoying to deal with. Then the next card I added to the deck is Frogzuka. You could have also used Angler Cluster as well because that's an Undertow Engine, but Frogzuka is a Trench Hunter and they both have the exact same stats. It's a level 4, 5,000 power blocker with guard, so I decided to throw that in because 5,000 power is actually quite a big deal in this challenge. Pretty much all the Trench Hunters and Undertow Engines are less than that besides the big Boom Booms in the level 8 slot, so it's very, very cool. So I definitely went with 2 of those just to, fill in some slots. I needed at least 20 creatures in the deck because I was going to go for 40 cards. This is an aggressive deck. And then just, kind of figure out if I can cut some creatures and stuff like that. And then lastly, probably the best card in this whole creature pool entirely, and that's Rusalka Aqua Chaser. Rusalka is used in plenty of decks out there in the metagame. Tempo is running wild right now, especially with Invasion Earth coming out. So Rusalka is an instant 3-of right there, the best Trench Hunter ever. It's very, very good. So at this point, I realized I was kind of forgetting to use my Triple Strike Shiny, so I went ahead and get rid of those refis and replace them with Triple Strike foil refis to, make them a little more intense. And then I also consider Flurrygill Manta, like I mentioned earlier, that's also in Triple Strike. So I went ahead and put it on the side with all the other blockers to see if I should, use 2 of those slots for blockers or maybe use it for something else. But I just kept them there for now just to know that I have those blockers available to me. Then you can notice on the top left there's Guardian Rusalka. Rusalka is kind of a step up a bit. It's a level 5, 3,000 power blocker with guard, and when you play it, you bounce a creature, just like Rusalka. Unfortunately, I didn't stick it in the final build. I felt that, while the bounce is really strong, I felt that Shield Blast can probably do the job a lot better. And yeah, it's a blocker, but once it's in play, it can't really do anything. So I wanted to save my blockers for blockers that can actually attack, blockers that can come out early so it could stop more aggressive decks than mine. So lastly, for the level 4s, we have Flame Spitter, which is an Undertow Engine, really powerful. It's a water-fire creature, level 4, 1000 power, and it has fast attack and the Seneschal ability, in that when you attack, you draw a card. So I thought that was really excellent for the deck as well. This deck needed a lot of draw power because, there's not much in the creatures. Of course, you can use plenty of spells, but the whole point of Tempo is you want to keep on the pressure and keep up putting creatures on the field, and at the same time not, using all of your resources. So that's why Flame Spitter and Featherfin Stalker are very good for this deck. And then Hydrobot Crab appears for a slight second there. I was actually thinking about it because it's probably the only level 5 I was considering, but I left it out for now. So yeah, kind of pushing the best card in the game aside, but I was going to think about it. So now, finally, you can bring in the big boom booms, and that's the light water cards. These light water creatures are both level 8, and they're both part of these Fishy and Robots clan. One of them being Crusader Engine. It's a level 8, 6,000 power double breaker that's, pretty much invincible. When it gets banished, it goes back to your hand, and it untaps at the end of your turn. So it's very hard to deal with, except for, like Root Trap is very good against it, and just, overall stuff that get rid of it off the field is really good because it double breaks every turn. It's kind of annoying. So I went ahead and put 2 of those, and then I put 2 of the other one, which is Saracon Storm Dynamo, and this is the biggest creature available out of all these cards in this challenge. It's a double breaker, it's a blocker, it has 7,500 power, and when it gets banished, you draw 3 cards. So there's just basically nothing that can go wrong with Saracon, so that was an instant include as well. But I went ahead and did a 2-2 split for now because I wasn't sure what I was going to be doing with these 2 cards, but I knew I wanted to have at least 3 of these cards available to me in the deck. So that was pretty much it for my creatures. I felt pretty good about that, so I decided to move on to the spells, the good part. And so here, I had a lot of spells to choose from because I believe I only had about 22 or 25 creatures or so I had to, put a lot of spells to kind of fill this deck up and bring it to 40. Now, if you look at my creatures, I have, civilizations all over the place. This is pretty much a 4-civ deck. There's no nature, trench hunters, or undertow engines, so that was out of the picture entirely. But the light water ones are the ones I didn't want to take out, and so I had to put those in as a last minute, 4th civ. So I had to pretty much construct my spells in a way that would help these cards come out onto the field a lot easier. So I started off with the darkness spells, and this was a pretty obvious inclusion here. Right away, I knew I wanted 2 of the best shield blasts in the game, considering I was using darkness, and that would be Terror Pit, which is just nice. It just banishes anything. And then I also included Bone Blades because it gets rid of most annoying blockers and annoying creatures in general in that level. Now for light, considering I only had 4 light creatures here, I needed to have something in there to, give light mana to these creatures. But because these 2 are both level 8, I figured I wouldn't need too much light, and it would be good as just a splash, because they're only going to come in late game, and probably not even turn 8 either, because I don't have ramp, and I don't want to ramp every single turn. So they're just for the late game power, just to kind of push for game if I don't have game yet by turn 6 or something like that. So I went ahead and just put 2 Stormspark Blast because it's pretty much the best light shield blast, if not one of the best shield blasts, period. So I decided to just put 2 because I didn't want to draw it every single game. I wanted to at least have it in shields every so often, and then also maybe late game draw it so I can use it as like a finishing blow to the opponent. So that's why I just used 2. I also considered Piercing Judgment as it's another very good light shield blast, but I felt that I had too many multi-civs in the deck already and I didn't want to use too many in the final build. So now moving back to Water Civ, I decided to add in 3 Logo Scan because like I just said, a lot of multi-civ cards are in this deck, and to kind of fix the problem of drawing too many, I use Logo Scan to kind of smooth my draws out a bit. It's also really useful late game to keep up on resources. If something goes wrong, I don't have many cards and I'm just top decking, it's just a very nice card to have to just draw 2 and have more options. So right now, as you can see, for fire, I only have 5 fire cards there, so I really need to fill this deck in with a lot of fire because I have Flame Vent Diver, which is a turn 2 fire creature, and I wanted to have consistent mana to bring that out turn 2 at least like half the time, maybe a third of the time at the very least, to have like a really strong turn 2 play. So I wanted to have at least around 12 to 13 fire cards. So the first card I added was a Tornado Flame. That was just a very obvious inclusion because I found that Tornado Flame just will be able to kill plenty of things. It's pretty much 90% of my opponent's robots and fishies were going to get banished by Tornado Flame, so that was just instant inclusion. I put 2 for now because I wanted to explore my options a bit. I also thought about Comet Missile, considering there are tons of blockers in the creature pool, so it gave me an out to anyone else who decides to take advantage of all these blockers, especially Saracon if anyone went for that option. So I went ahead and just tech just 1 for now because I know not everyone's going to be using blockers, and there are going to be other people at the Duel Day who weren't even doing this challenge, so I wanted to kind of have a chance against other decks. So Tornado Flame is actually a very good answer against Herald of Infernus, because Herald of Infernus just gets over all of these things, which is just not good. So I had to have Tornado Flame there for that, and Comet Missile for all the annoying blockers that are in the way. So at this point, I was kind of struggling to find room for strong fire cards, so in the end, I decided to just scrap the Crusader Engines completely, add in a 3rd Saracon because that card is just nuts. It's just big, draws cards, it blocks, it double breaks, it does pretty much everything you want it to do in a Trench Hunter. And then lastly, I went ahead and threw in 2 Cinder Fists. This is actually a very cool tech choice, and I really like the thought of using Cinder Fist, but basically, just a simple line here. If you have a turn 2 Flame Vent Diver, and then let's say they play Aqua Strider, that kind of gets in the way, and it's kind of a problem. So, Cinder Fist helps you get over it. It becomes a 5,000 power creature, and then you can attack untap, so you can get rid of the Aqua Strider. So I found it was a very interesting choice. I probably could have just put more Comet Missiles if I wanted to, but Cinder Fist is also very good to get rid of the annoying hexproof creatures, like the notorious Keeper of Laws, so I don't have to target it. I just go boost my Bladefish and then run into Keeper of Laws and boom, it's gone. And it's just like, whoa, what the heck just happened? I lost my Keeper of Laws to a Bladefish, which is absolutely amazing. So that's pretty much my deck right there. 40 cards flat. I'm laying out the cards here. And as you can see, there's a very huge level gap in between level 4 and level 8. So I almost threw in a TheKaijudoChannel Crab just for the sheer power and just to be able to curve out well. But in the end, I decided against it. So sorry guys, I did not use pretty much the best card of the game. But hey, at least there's Bladefish, so that's all that matters. So on to the actual tournament. I didn't record any of my matches, sadly, but I will be able to kind of report on them really quickly. So in the end, I won the Bladefish challenge, which is absolutely insane because I only went against one Bladefish opponent and the other 2 were, actually legitimate decks, and I somehow beat them, which was just absolutely insane. I was really happy in the end, so I won the challenge. Now, as for the other 3 people who were participating in the challenge, they also had very cool decks as well. Second place was another Bladefish deck. He went 2-1. He was also the guy I went against first round, and here's his deck right here. So as you can see, it's not too much different from mine. It's probably about 8 to 10 cards different than mine. Unfortunately, he totally forgot about Flame Vent Diver. He just kind of brain farted there and didn't include it, and he probably would have if he'd known that. He kind of made a splash of fire since he didn't use Flame Vent Diver, so he was just kind of, using Flame Spitter as like a final, end game win. Like if you just top deck, boom, you win the game. Comet Missile's there just to get rid of blockers as well. I kind of told him I was using Saracons. I kind of hinted at it, so he's like, okay, I'm going to use Comet Missile to deal with that. Of course, he used the exact same darkness as me, Bone Blades, Terrapit, Featherfin, and then for light, he kind of pushed it a bit more. So he had 3 Crusader Engines because he didn't have Saracons. He had 3 Storm Sparks. And the really cool card here is Rally the Reserves, a nice tech card to kind of just like finish the game right there. He has plenty of blockers in here that can't attack, like Refi and Flurigil. So he didn't want to draw it all the time, but if you do draw it when you have blockers on the field, it's just very funny to go Rally the Reserves and win the game. And I believe he actually won a game off of a Rally Reserves. I was watching the game, he was right next to me, and he won with Rally the Reserves. It was really cool. Really strong deck for second place. Now for third place deck in the Bladefish Challenge is also a very interesting idea, and it's very different than all of our decks. It's a water fire, like rushy, tempo-y kind of variant here. So he kind of just completely ignored the darkness and the light. He actually has Saracons too, but he decided against it. He's like, no, this is more my style. It's more tempo-y, more fast. And it actually, looked very good. So basically, a lot of the same creatures are chosen here, but not the big light cards and not Featherfin. So to kind of replace those, he has a bit more blockers in Frogzuka, and then he also has 3 Guardian Rusalka and 3 Hydrobot Crab, because it's just the biggest Hydrobot. It's just the biggest attacker before the level 8, so it's a very good choice there. And then for spells, he used 3 Jump Jets, which is really cool, because you can be really aggressive and give anything you want in the deck fast attack. He threw Scalding Surge in there and a Veil Vortex to just have a bunch of annoying bounce and removal, and then 3 Tornado Flames just like me. So his deck was actually well thought out as well. Very simple, straight to the point. I just want to rush you and rush you good. And then lastly, we have the last place deck of the Bladefish Challenge. Unfortunately, it's really blurry, so you can't really see much, but I'll be able to tell you some of the cards here. So his was also very similar. It was also for Civ. Unfortunately, I don't think he has any Stormspark Blast or Saracon, so what he did for light is he has 3 Crusader Engines, just like the other second place deck did. He threw in 2 Repulses. It was actually a really nice tech. If you're losing the game, you play Repulse, you get a shield, and you tap something, which is really nice. And he also used 3 Sunmo Fields, which are pretty much his Stormspark Blast in a way, just to kind of say, oh, if you hit that in shields, boom, the rest of your creatures can't attack. So Sun Mode is a very cool idea there. He also has a Tech Veil Slip, which is kind of interesting. Not sure where you would really use it in this deck, unfortunately. Like, the Rusalkas are basically, like, the main target, I think, is what I'm seeing here. 3 Rusalkas and 3 Guardian Rusalkas. You could, trigger a Veil Slip, boom, put in a Rusalka and bounce something. So it kind of acted like a Veil Vortex in a way. So I'm kind of surprised he didn't use something like a Veil Vortex or a Piercing Judgment instead of that. But, hey, it's a cool tech choice. He has 1 logo scan there to smooth out his draws. He also has 3 Jump Jets, so he's also kind of aggressive. And then he has like a bunch of blockers. He has the 3 Flurigil, he has the 3 Refi, 3 Rusalka, and 3 Angler Clusters. So he has, a bunch of blockers. So this was a little bit more control-y than other decks, I think. But yeah, very nice stuff. Overall, these decks were all really cool, and I'm very happy to be doing these challenges. These Duel Day Challenges are a lot more fun, like every week if you just come in with like a standard deck, it's kind of boring. So after a while, you kind of want to throw things in for a loop and just boom, let's use some different cool deck ideas, and this is just one of them. Bladefish was an absolute blast, and next time we're going to be doing something a little bit more interesting. But I'm not going to spoil it just yet. It's kind of in the works too, so we're not really sure what we're going to be doing. But yeah, stay tuned for that. This video will be on KaijudoChannel.com. There's a bunch of stuff going on KaijudoChannel.com. There's an awesome database you can search. And right now, I actually haven't announced this yet, but we actually have a mobile version of the site up and running. So if you guys want to search for cards on the go, you can grab it, go on the mobile site. When you go on KaijudoChannel.com on your mobile, it's going to pop up a message saying, oh, you're on a mobile phone, you want to use the mobile site, you say okay, and then pretty much everything is going to be a lot more convenient for you guys, because when you go to the database, you can simply swipe to the right, and boom, you have the filters, you type in all your filters, and then boom, you have all your results, and then you could kind of just swipe back, and do a bunch of different searches, and it's a lot more easier for you guys so you don't have to scroll around, zoom in, and stuff like that. So yeah, enjoy that. Mobile site is really cool. We noticed a lot of people are using mobile, so hopefully this will help you guys out. And so yeah, stay tuned next week for probably another Kaijudo news, and the next Duel Day Challenge will probably be next month, or maybe even the month after that. Not really sure how often we're going to be doing this, but we're going to be trying to do this every month. So stay tuned for that, guys. Enjoy your day, enjoy your week. This is TKC, the Kaijudo Channel, signing out. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you later.